Maya the B3, The Golden Orb, was released in 2021. It's directed by Noel Cleary. It's written by Fin Edquist, and we have a voice cast including Coco Jack Gillies as Maya and Benson Jack Anthony as Willy. And I liked the previous two, so I was looking forward to this one, and it's okay. It's not bad. I don't think it's as good as the previous two, but it's still a decent film on its own. Maya and Willy are having an adventure. They have left the hive, and this involves an orb. And it turns out that the orb is not an orb, but it's an egg. And I don't want to say too much about what happens, but the egg hatches. We have this absolutely adorable character called Smoosh, and they have to try and take Smoosh back home, and they end up, well, encountering a lot of other characters along the way, but also a lot of obstacles, a lot of hurdles, a lot of hurdles they need to overcome. And in general, it's a nice little adventure story. We have loads of great characters. The animation is really beautiful, particularly when they have characters that they look like they're illuminated. I thought that was particularly beautiful. Very, very well done. Really nice colour palette as well. Obviously, we have a lot of yellows from the bees, but we have a lot of other colours as well. And visually, it's quite an attractive film. The characters are good. The animation, gorgeous. The narrative works well. The voice acting's great. I don't think it felt as cute as the first film or the second film. That's not necessarily a huge problem. I don't think their sole intention was to make a cute film. I think it's more meant to be an interesting film, but I did find the first films to be really, really adorable. This one, not quite as much, but it still worked well. It was still well written. The pacing was good. The characters are good. Well, I say the pacing was good. It did take a little bit of time to establish the main narrative, but after that point, the action basically never stopped. We had a couple of calmer moments, of course, but in general, it was quite fast-paced, and it manages to pack in quite a lot of action into a relatively short space of time. It's about an hour and 25 minutes, which is not a bad length at all. So, I did like it. Definitely not as good as the previous two films, but let's say, hypothetically, I'd watched this one first. It is possible because it's actually called Maya the Bee, the Golden Orb. Not everywhere has it listed as Maya the B3. So it is possible that somebody would come across this not realising it's the third film. And if that's the case, I'd say it still makes perfect sense. It's about two bees having an adventure and trying to overcome a lot of obstacles and meeting characters along the way. Absolutely can stand on its own. But I do think watching them in order is the best option, partly because I think the previous films are a little bit stronger, but also because it's nice to have that emotional connection with the characters and to go on the development, or to go on the journey as the characters have their development. So I do recommend watching them in order, but if for whatever reason you just want to watch this one, absolutely, you'll be able to follow it. With that in mind, do I recommend it? Yes, I do. It's not a bad film. Maya the B3, The Golden Orb, is a good story, well animated, great voice acting, great characters, absolutely no problems. It might not be as strong as the previous three, but to be honest, that's not a huge surprise. That's generally the case by the time we get to a third film in a series, particularly with animations. There are exceptions. I can't think of any right now, but I'm sure there are exceptions. But in general, I wasn't expecting this to be quite as good as the previous films, but it still did well. I still thought it was pretty decent. All things considered, Maya the B3, The Golden Orb, is not a bad film. And if you liked the previous films, then I'd say it's one that's certainly worth checking out.